Hello guys. Um, so some of you may have some confusion about artifacts, and I'm here to clear things up for you. For me, I have started playing Genshin Impact for um, 5 to 6 months ago. I've started 5 to 6 months ago, and for me, artifacts were really confusing. I didn't know what to put on which character and what artifact I should use in sets. So I'm here to clear things up for you. So what you need to know about artifacts in general is that there are 5 pieces on each character. You can put 5 pieces on each character, and each piece has significance. Each piece is different than the other. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna take a look at flowers. Okay, flowers of life. Every flower in the game has to have a main stat of HP. You cannot change that. It has to have HP main stat, and attack, defense, HP percent, attack, defense, energy recharge, elemental mastery, crit rate, and crit damage will always be its substats. It will never be its main stat. The Plume of Death. The Plume of Death will always have attack as its main stat. So if I'm not wrong, a golden plume will, if you max it out, will give you 311 attack. So yes, you should. These two artifacts will always be constant. These two artifacts will always have HP and attack as their main stats. Okay. So okay. Now, Sans, Goblet, and Circlets. These are the other three. Each of them are unique. Okay. As you can see on my screen, this is from the official Genshin Impact fandom, by the way. So if you go check it out yourself, I'm gonna leave the link below. You should go check it out so it clears up things for you even more. Sans can have HP percent, attack percent, defense percent, energy recharge, and elemental mastery. And as you can see, 26.68%, 26.66%, these are the chances of you getting these substats, because of course good substats are very hard to get. So this is for Sans. You cannot get any other main stats for Sans. Substats you can get other things, if I'm not wrong. Let me check. Here, substats. You can get these as your substats. Okay. Going back to my Sans. Sans usually, most of the time, if you're playing Sucrose, for example, Sans will always have elemental mastery. You have to roll elemental mastery Sans, and you should put as much elemental mastery on it as possible, because for Sucrose, elemental mastery is really important. But let's say you want a healer Bennett. For Bennett, you wouldn't want elemental mastery on it. You would essentially want energy recharge. So as you progress in the game, these things matter more because the enemies are getting harder, and to a certain extent you have to have good artifacts, or you cannot fight bosses, you cannot do your commissions, you have difficulty completing domains. So I suggest you start early. You should start grinding from purple artifacts, then you should move on to golden artifacts. The fourth piece is the Goblet. The Goblet has a very distinct main stats. You could have healing bonuses, not healing bonuses. You can have physical damage bonus, you can have elemental mastery, you can have a specific elements damage bonus, and you can have HP, attack, and defense. So for most of the characters that don't scale off HP or defense, I would not suggest you put too much HP or defense on them, because at that point it's pretty useless. But for a character like Noelle, if you want to build her with her shield, of course you would put a lot of defense on her. But as I said, you mainly want to go for specific things, and I'm gonna upload builds later in my channel, so stay tuned for that. Now, the circlet. The circlet, in my opinion, is the most important piece out of all the other pieces. Why? Okay. Because the circlet can only have crit rate or crit damage as their main stat. Now, why this is very important? Because crit rate and crit damage, what it does is, for example, if your crit rate, the circlet has crit rate and crit damage. So you must understand what crit rate and crit damage is. Okay? Crit rate, okay? Crit rate is basically, for example, if you have 10% crit rate, for example, then out of every 100 attacks you do, 10 of them will be crit attacks. Now, what crit attacks are is based on your crit damage. Say your crit damage is 5%, which is horrible, by the way. Say your crit damage is 5%, your crit rate will, for example, if you crit and say your attack is 15, which is also horrible, your crit damage is going to increase your attack percent by 5%. So the higher your crit rate and crit damage are, your characters are stronger. If your crit rate is above 70%, I think that's okay for a character. And if I were you, I would want to put my I would want my crit damage to be 140 to 160. Even better if you can go higher. So that's basically the artifact distribution. And I'm getting all this information from the official fandom, by the way, and I'll leave the link below for you to check it out yourself. Bye bye.